Well, yesterday was a red letter day here in the Shade Tree Garage. My two-door 55 Chevy Wagon was due for an inspection. How did it go? Well, we'll find out just a minute here in the Shade Tree Garage. All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. And like I said in the intro, the Chevy got inspected. Now, I had actually on Monday put in a work order for an inspection and have the deputy sheriff come here at my house to do the inspection. And the inspection had to take place here, at least from my book, because the car has no registration. It's a title. It's got a classic car title, which means it can't be registered and driven on the road with tags. You have to convert that classic car title into a regular title before you can license the vehicle. And the classic car title is designed for projects, long-term projects. You're not going to have it on the road anytime soon. And then once you have it ready to roll and get in the safety inspection, you can get that tag, the classic car title converted. Simple process, right? Well, that's what I thought. And by last weekend, I had the car ready for inspection. And I had looked up criteria for this inspection. And it's very basic, very basic safety features. For example, headlights, taillights, turn signals, a horn, glass. Trying to think what else. Seat belts if your car was equipped with them originally. Things like that. And so I've been working on that. I had to put in glass in 3 windows, redo the complete mechanisms for the passenger door. Anyway, everything got done. And the last thing were the tail lights. Pardon me, not the tail lights, the lights for the rear license plate, because those wires had been cut long ago. So in the process, I went ahead and ordered new lights because of the lenses were 70 years old and basically opaque. But so yesterday, after waiting 4 days, I decided to take matters in my own hands. Obviously, the sheriff's office was very busy with their own business, and going out to do on-site vehicle inspections is a very low priority. So I decided that I was going to drive it into the sheriff's office, even without licensing and just a classic car title. I decided to gas her up and take her into town. No plate, no nothing. Now, I'd already gotten the car insured on Monday, so I had insurance if something happened. And my plan was, if I got stopped for no plates, just to tell the truth, I'm on my way to the sheriff's office for inspection, and then on to the clerk's office for a vehicle registration and a license plate. And that's exactly what I did. But first, the inspection. Now, the staff at the sheriff's office do the inspections when you go there. And why do we have these vehicle inspections anyway? Well, if a vehicle is brought in from out of state, it is required to have a sheriff's office safety inspection. And I will tell you, safety inspection is a misnomer because it's not about safety. It's about ensuring that stolen vehicles aren't brought into the state. Because the inspection basically amounted to nothing about safety and everything about the VIN number, the vehicle identification number. The paperwork and the actual VIN number had to match. And Kentucky put their certificate of title law into effect actually only in the early 80s. Prior to that, it was a much simpler, much less secure system, and car thieves love to bring their cars to Kentucky and get them registered, and the certificate of title system was much looser. And the state didn't really have good records. Everything was done on a county level. And if you knew somebody in the clerk's office, you could get either blank copy certificates, paperwork, and forge it, or you could, or the paperwork was actually forged. So it was really easy, and Kentucky did a land office business in stolen vehicles. They were brought here, the ownership was changed, and then they were sold either out of state or somewhere else, somewhere in Kentucky, at a bargain, I'm sure. In the 80s, the General Assembly passed a law to mirror what every other state in the Union had, something much more secure, and that would not allow the abuse of by car thieves, because there was a lot of traffic into Kentucky just for registration, so it would be easy to move that car on out without it being detected as stolen. So anyway, so I drove up to the sheriff's office. They even have a parking space designated for car inspections. So that's and 99.9% of those inspections, people drive up to the sheriff's office for that inspection. And again, it's not so much about safety as it is about preventing stolen vehicles from getting registered in Kentucky. And most vehicles that are sold are drivable. So um, doing my thing, changing from a classic title to a regular title, that caused a little confusion yesterday. Simply because it was registered in Kentucky. Why do you need an inspection? Well, it has a title in Kentucky, but it's not the title I can use to get plates. So, but anyway, they didn't ask too many more questions. They just did the paperwork, and all that happened was they made sure the VIN on the paperwork and the VIN in the car were the same. After that, I was done. Now, I will tell you that I took the state law regarding a safety inspection to heart, and I've spent the last. It's kind of ironic. I spent the last 90 days working on everything to have the car ready to pass this safety inspection, which is nothing more than checking the VIN. Now, I should have listened to our county clerk, because I was up there for something else, and I asked her about that inspection, and she seemed, well, all she knew was they checked the VIN, and I'm like, that's it. Well, I wasn't just gonna take her word for it. If there was any question about lights or any of the other usual safety type equipment, I wanted everything to be functional on the car. So that's why it took 3 months. I have a strong feeling that now drove it home in top of January with missing 3 windows, and it was an airish ride, let me tell you. But I was excited to drive it home. Anyway, I have this strong feeling I could have driven it to the clerk's office the next day, and it would have passed inspection, because the only thing they checked was the VIN number, and they wouldn't have known if those windows were actually missing, like they were, or just rolled down. So anyway, but no safety check of any kind, and but I was ready for it if it did, and actually doing so made it safe to drive. The brake lights, turn signals, everything worked. So, yeah, but another irony was yesterday was the second time I've driven the car. The first time was when I drove it home from a county over and brought it to my shop. So this was my first shakedown cruise with the car, and it's got a 350 5 speed. And one of the things I had to get used to in driving was driving a 5 speed. Not that I can't use a clutch, but the speed range is noticeably different than my old Muncie Rock Crusher 4 speed was in my first 55 Chevy. First gear is you don't get very far in first gear, and second either. And so even cruising in town under the speed limit in the city, I was usually in third gear. Everything ran good. Now I've got a few issues that popped up. Number one, I have a fan belt that's squealing when you first start it up, and I think that's simply the alternator belt. When I put the new alternator on, I probably don't have that as tight as it should be. I found out the gas gauge worked. I put half a tank of gas in it. Sure enough, the gauge reads half a tank. Anyway, the car drove well. The steering is really tight on it. And I forgot what it's like to drive a recognizable classic car in town. Had several people flashing their lights at me, with the thumbs up. All right, well, that's. I'm planning on going to a cruise on Sunday, the first cruise of the season, with the informal car group here for the Whiskey City Cruisers. Now, the cruisers have been cruising for 30. I think it's the 33rd year, and and there's, I think, 4 or 5 of the original founders still cruising. So they're great guys to talk to. Anyway, if I'll try to get some video from the cruise, and then we'll move on from there. All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Shade Tree Garage, and I just feel a great relief seeing a tag on the back of the Chevy now, which means I can drive it anytime I want. And anyway, I've got a few things to correct, but it just feels like a tremendous weight off my shoulder. And having achieved this first goal was to get it roadworthy, and not knowing that all you had to do to pass that inspection was to have the right VIN number. But I know now. Well, that's all I have. So I'll be back. Hopefully, I'll be going to a cruise this Sunday. Hopefully, I'll come back with some video from that. It'll be good to see all the guys again. I missed last season completely with my Plymouth, because my Plymouth is over here. Well, it's still in process. Let me show you. Let's see. All right, that's the 56 Plymouth. Still in process. My next job is going to be to cut and fabricate a patch panel for the front quarter panel. All right, that's going to do it for now. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, and that way you'll keep tabs on everything that's happening here. So for now, that's all, and have a great week and weekend in your location from the Shade Tree Garage.